Hello there. Welcome to this edition of the NEWBI Nation Tactical Webinar Series. Now, these webinars are designed to provide you with the tips, techniques, and tactics that you can use today to help accelerate your business. Hi, my name is Bob McLean. I'm the head guy at NewBiSystem.com and the NEWBI Nation. Thank you so much for choosing to watch this video. Now, normally, these tactical webinars are reserved for those who are part of the NEWBI Nation program, the citizens of NEWBI Nation. I'm pleased to bring this particular webcast to the world to give you an example of the deep value that's available within the nation. Now, this edition of the NEWBI Nation webinars, we go back to the basics. We're going to be talking about the incredibly important but widely misunderstood area of communications. Yep. Whether you're talking to a friend or a potential client, the need to be understood and the need to ensure that you're understanding the other person is critical, especially when emotions are running high. I am pleased to introduce to you our guests for this show, David and Tammy Stanley. Now, these two wonderful people have taken on the huge task of demystifying good communications and ensuring that all people have their messages received and understood. Now, David and Tammy have long, successful careers under their belts, testifying to their ability to speak and listen. Clue there. They are international speakers, they're trainers, and have an absolute passion for good communications. Now, I've asked David and Tammy to give us a mini lesson tonight on what communications is and how to achieve it every time. So, you are about to find out why I am so excited to have them on the webinar. So, David and Tammy, welcome to the NEWBI Nation.
Wow, thank you, Bob, and the NEWBI System.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was a fantastic introduction. We're so excited to be here with you today. Make sure that you have a pen and paper. We're going to give you a lot of great information, and you're going to want to take really good notes. My name is Tammy Stanley, and this is my husband, David Stanley, and we are the co-founders / co-owners of IgniteYourFreedom.com. We're also recently published authors of our book, Freedom Equals Time Plus Money Squared, the simple system to rock your finances. So make sure you're going to stay until the end because we've got a really great offer for you guys, and you just may get a copy of the book. Maybe. So today we want to share with you the three key elements to communication in anywhere in your life. So that's what we're going to be, sharing with you today, and we really want to start off with a question. So on that little piece of paper or that big piece of paper or the piece of paper that you have in front of you, think about communication in all areas of your life, whether it's your business, whether it is your personal relationships, whether it is with family, friends, neighbors. How important is communication? If you had to rate it on a scale of 0 to 10, where would you rate communication, its importance level, its level of importance? So go ahead and put that number on your sheet. So from 0 to 10, how important is communication for you in all areas of your life? And I know that neither David or I are sitting with you right now, but from the thousands of people that we have posed this question to and or discussed this with, the lowest that we've ever heard is an 8. And so it shows that communication is extremely important to people. And more often than not, we give people a scale of 0 to 10, and where do they go?
Usually like 100. Like it's well past 10 on almost everybody that we talk to.
Yeah, 10 plus. So what did you rate communication importance level for you and your life, you and your relationships, you and your business and the success in your business? Make sure that that's really clear to you, and what we're going to share with you is going to really help with that. So in today's day and time, there's been no better time to become more proficient with your communication. Right now, we have people who are walking around with their phones. You're walking down the street in any big city right now, and you've got people with their heads glued to their phones, and they're sitting there texting, they're on the net. You go into a coffee shop anywhere, what do people have in front of them? Very rarely do they have something that will encourage them to have a conversation with somebody. It's more they're stuck in their mobile device.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And the world is becoming that mobile device. The actual taking a look 50 years plus ago, people would talk at a bus stop. Now, you just take a look and people are just sitting there texting or looking at the phone or looking at their latest Facebook update. It's really remarkable how communication has changed. It's still considered communication in many aspects, but it's not interpersonal communication.
Exactly. We're living a more distracted life, and we're more distant from the humans that are sitting right beside us. So we want to share with you some tips and tricks and some tools to put in your tool belt so that you can excel in your communication. So I'm not sure about you, but when I went to school, there was never any course in elementary school or in high school on communication. How about you, David?
No, not at all. And that's one of the things that we really had to focus on, is that we weren't taught effective communication. You were kind of taught how to communicate in a playground or with your group of friends. But to be able to interact, communicate with people outside of your circle, it's a completely different thing.
Right, or even in your circle. You know, somebody's having a temper tantrum in your circle in elementary school. You have no idea how to communicate or how to calm them down. And then you move into post-secondary education if you did go to university and or college. You move into the workforce. There's very little education in communication. So we rated extremely high on the on our scale of 0 to 10 and plus, and yet it's very little energy put towards improving our communication. So a great way of thinking of communication is that communication is our delivery system of our worth and or value to the marketplace. So if we improve our communication, then it's going to increase our value in the marketplace. So we rate it extremely high. The marketplace rates it extremely high, yet we have very little education and or outside influence to help us with it going on in our lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You take a look at when we're talking with some people and you're listening to others, and you sometimes say, where did they learn how to communicate? Where did they turn around? Hi, we're back. Just a little bit of technical difficulties there. But yeah, communication, when we're talking with people and we're listening to them, you kind of sometimes wonder, where did they learn how to communicate? So it's really important that when you're going for an interview, when you're trying to build a business, whether you're in sales, even trying to just sell somebody, even if you have to sell how to get into a relationship and to ask them to marry you, it's all about communication. But that pertains to the value of yourself in a marketplace. Marketplace doesn't mean selling. Marketplace could be anything in a relationship, into your workforce, anything like that.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. So to give a little illustration of the impact of our communication, we're going to tell you, we're going to have a little story time now. So sit back, relax, and it's just going to be a couple of minutes, but it's something that I read on social media not that long ago. But there was a little boy who had some trouble controlling his temper. And so him and his father sat down. They said, okay, what can we do to help you out with this challenge that we're having? And his father came up with a solution, and he said, okay, let's just call him Johnny. Little Johnny, every time that you lose your temper, I'm going to give you these bag of nails and this little boy hammer. So every time that you lose your temper, I want you to take one of the nails out of the bag and bring it to the back fence. Hammer it into the fence. So Johnny said, okay, great idea, Dad. Not sure why you have me doing this, but I'll go for it. So the first day, Johnny lost his temper 37 times. So 37 times he had to walk to the back of the backyard and hammer in that nail into the fence. Progressively, it got lower and lower every day. So he got better at controlling his temper. And there came a day when he's like, Dad, I didn't lose my temper today. I don't have to go to the back and put anything in the fence. And his father was very proud and excited and told him, great job, Johnny. You know, we went from 37 to nothing. Fantastic. He said, now I want you to do me a favor. Every day that you do not lose your temper, let's go back and remove one of those nails. So all of those nails that he had built up in that fence, every day Johnny went back and he removed one of those nails. And there eventually came the day when there weren't any nails left in the fence. So he had put all these nails in from losing his temper, and he spent so much time being able to manage that temper and not put any more nails in, and he got the luxury of taking them out. And he's like, Dad, I am so excited. Look, all the nails are gone. They're out of the fence. And his father walked him to the back of the fence and he said, Johnny, great job. I'm very excited and I'm so proud of you that you've been able to show that you can control your temper. He said, however, look at all the nails, the holes that are sitting in the fence there. And Johnny thought for a minute, and his father said, what do you think that those holes are from? And he reminded himself that it was from all those times that I had lost my temper. And his father said, just remember when you say hurtful things, that it does leave an impression and or mark on the individual that you're communicating with. So think about in your own personal life, and we all have them. We've all made withdraws from our emotional bank accounts, and we've said things that we may not necessarily have meant in the way that we've said them, and or we've said things that we wish that we had never said and that we take them back. And I know that I have those situations.
Definitely on this end.
Yeah. And then you most likely have those situations too. So let's just think about the importance of communication. And as we work through some of the tools for you, you can see how that can apply to your life and hopefully get you in a position that you're not putting nails in fences.
That's right. That is a good Johnny story. There's a lot of Johnny stories out there, and that's a good Johnny story. But that's something that we really have to become aware of, is that everybody can lose their temper. Let me just finish off that sentence right off the bat. But if you're at sports, the parents are up there and they're yelling and they're screaming, or the fans are yelling and screaming, or people are upset with somebody else's actions. And that is the thing, is that we have to remember that even though we're banging into the fence, when we pull that nail out, and most of the time we have no nails in our fence, but we have little holes in our fence. And that story is really relevant, because when we end up putting those holes in, we're leaving scars on somebody.
Yeah, and or vice versa. You've also been the recipient of these nails going into fences as well. So in some relationship or some situation in your life, whether it's work related, personal related, I'm sure that there's some individual that has said something to you that you're still carrying around with you. You've got that hole in your fence. And that you're still carrying it with you. So what we do is we share a very, very powerful communication tool, and you're going to want to write this down. And it is called Verbal Aikido, and it is pure communications mastery. And let's kind of go through a little bit of history of, what is Aikido, and then how does that relate to communication. So let's get into Aikido. And if you want to write on your papers, these two-letter kind of words. So the I is AI, and the I equals harmony. Okay, so just keep that in mind when we go through here. The second one is Ki. The second part of Aikido is Ki, and that means power. And then the last one is Do. So they all put together, Aikido. Do equals the path. And they all combined together equals the powerful path to peace. So if you ever think of in Aikido, it is a fairly new martial art when it comes to martial arts. And it is the powerful path to peace. So it's non-confrontational. It's not a push-push type of interaction. It is more of a, you're powerful. You've got that power, but you use it for harmony and peace. So it's the powerful path to peace. And we'll explain how that interacts with communication in a moment.
Excellent.
So three really key things is whether you're Johnny and you're putting those nails in the fence, or whether you're the recipient of those nails going in a fence. So that communication. The biggest thing that you can do to improve your communication is work on the ability to control yourself. And how do you do that? That is a very difficult task to do. And there's 3 really key areas to helping you control yourself. And you'll really want to write these down. The first one is having a calm confidence. So think about leaders in your industry, leaders if you have a job at your profession or your work, leaders in your community, leaders around the world. You always see that they have a calm confidence. It's very rare that you have a significant leader who is extremely nervous and they're not confident. So you wouldn't see, a president of a country or a prime minister or a president of a company, a CEO of a company being very timid and weak and mild, and they really calm. They're not overly aggressive, but they're very confident. So a calm confidence.
That's right. And that is one of the most attractive things that you can work on. Mm-hmm. People are attracted to that calm confidence. And they're attracted to that calm confidence because of what it delivers. And what does it deliver? The next.
Yeah, so the second piece of this 3-legged stool is safe strength. So again, you're thinking of a leader in your industry, a leader in your company, a leader in your community. They have safe strength. It's not an overpowering, domineering type of strength. It's a safe strength. So it's not listen to me because of who I am. It's no, I've got this calm confidence and safe strength. You're listening to me because I have the calm confidence and the safe strength.
You want to listen to that person because of the way they deliver a message, they deliver a story, the information that they're able to give. We are attracted to that because it's safe. They are able just to talk to you and you're able to get that type of feeling. And that's one of the amazing things about Tammy. When I first met her, it was over the top in the calm confidence and safe strength. Like, it was so easy to talk. And sometimes you're going to notice, whether it's your spouse or your best friend or your children or your mother or your father, is that they have that safe strength. You know that they're very powerful in their own way, but they're able to show that strength without being domineering.
Right. And this feeds into the 3rd leg of the stool, which is the glue that holds it all together. And that's a pure motivation. So it's not you can come into a conversation with an objective for the conversation, but you're not coming in with an agenda. There's a very big difference between an objective and the agenda. Correct. And the pure motivation is where you're looking for some situation where it's a win-win for you and who you're communicating with. It's not all about you. Okay, so those are the 3 legs of the stool. And really what we do in our 2-day experience, and we also have a home study course, what we do is we get into a lot more detail on how do you equip yourself to be able to have all 3 of these: the calm confidence, the safe strength, and the pure motivation. And so that is a huge part of our 2-day experience. So anything else to add for that 3-legged stool?
No, I just want to really go back and talk about that calm confidence, safe strength, and pure motivation. That is actually the foundation to be able to communicate effectively. Without it, the stool will tip over. 2 of those, the stool still will tip over. So all 3, calm confidence, safe strength, and pure motivation, holds the stool up. It is the primary basis of the foundation of communication.
That's right. And think of somebody in your community or your business that you actually look up to. It could be somebody that you've seen speak. It could be somebody that you've read their books. And do they possess all 3 of these? Or is there anyone in your circle of influence who may be lacking in one certain area of these 3? Or of the three, what could you work on? Or what is an opportunity for you? And we are able to share tips and tools and tactics, and we work through this. And what this really does, honing in on your calm confidence, your safe strength, and your pure motivation, it gets you to a point where you're able to better control yourself. So back to Johnny in the story. And Johnny found that he progressively put less nails in that fence. And so it is important that we control ourselves in
Absolutely.
all interactions. And then when we are able to control ourselves and our 2-day experience, we spend the entire first day on this control self. The next step in the process is managing interactions. So once I can control myself, I'm able to manage an interaction between me and another individual. If I can't control myself, if I'm not calm, if I have more a domineering type strength and I don't have a pure motivation, I can't even control myself. What's this going to be like? This is going to be chaos between me and another individual if that happens.
That's bumpy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where you have challenges in your life. It could be challenges between you and a teenage daughter or son. It could be challenges between you and a business partner. It could be challenges between you and a spouse. All of this comes from when you do not have a solid control of self. Then you try to jump in to manage interactions, and you usually do it in a very defensive way.
Exactly.
And it is a crap show. So do not recommend it.
And if you do not have control over self, when you go out to manage interactions, it becomes a domination effect.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to try to push your thoughts, your desires onto somebody else, and that becomes domination.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you try and use force, and it makes it even worse.
Right.
The third, once you have that control self and the manage interactions, and again, this doesn't happen overnight. It's taken us how many years to get to where we are with our communication. We need to give it time to adjust the ship.
That's right.
The third part, that once you're able to control self and manage an interaction, only at that point are you able to influence others. And more often than not, most of us get into our own business, whether it's network marketing or we're starting, some type of other supply business or fulfillment business or some type of service business, and we try to jump right into that influence others. We try to bypass the control self. We try to bypass the manage interactions. We try to jump into the influence others, and it causes nothing but stress because nobody wants to join our business. Nobody wants to buy our product and or service, regardless of how fantastic it is. We are unable to influence others because we haven't set that foundation in ourselves to communicate effectively by controlling self and managing interactions.
Absolutely. Very well said.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that is what verbal Aikido is. The verbal Aikido is the intersection of these three powerful three-legged stool. So keep in mind that you control self, spend most of your communication learning time on the ability to control yourself. The second step is managing interactions. And the third and final step, so do not jump to this third and final step until you've mastered the first two, is influencing others. Verbal Aikido is where the three of these intersect. That is the magic of the verbal Aikido. Okay, I have a quick little slide to show you so that we can visually see it. And here we go. So we've got the control self, manage interactions, and influence others. So write that down on your sheet. And where these three intersect, that's verbal Aikido. That's pure gold. And imagine when we start working through verbal Aikido together is that area starts to expand. And then your control self expands, your manage interactions, and your influence others. But we're going to tell you a quick little story first, and then we'll show you how to get these areas to expand. So go ahead, Mr. David. You got a little story for us.
I got a story for you guys,
You do.
which is really great at this moment. Because when we start taking a look at the verbal Aikido and where that little intersect is, that in between all all the circles, I should say, we end up moving within that circle all the time, where it's control self, and we bounce back and forth. So this story, I'm hoping that everybody can participate. It is something that really will drive home if you really work on participating, and I'm sure you all will, because this is the NEWBI Nation, and we're all about participation. Okay, so
Let's do it.
we're on a subway. Let's just say it doesn't matter what subway we're on, so wherever you're living, or a bus, or whichever type of mode of transportation you've been on before, but this is called the subway story. So we're on a subway, we got our coffee in our hand, our newspaper, and we just get on to the train. And we find ourselves a seat, and it's crowded. It's not overly crowded, but it's crowded. And we sit down, we have our coffee in our hand, and we start reading our newspaper. And all of a sudden, you hear the ding, and we start moving to the next stop. So we're going down. So just imagine, be there in your seat, you're on the subway, you got your coffee in your hand, your newspaper, you're reading it, everything's good, and all of a sudden it stops to the next stop. Get back over here, girl. And then all of a sudden, people are getting on, it's starting to get more and more packed, and all of a sudden, ding, we start going again, and we're going again, and we're moving, and we're going, and everybody seems to be really good. They're all quiet. People are holding on. People are just sitting there looking at their cell phones. Nobody's really talking to each other. There's a couple people talking, and all of a sudden, we end up stopping at the next stop. And all of a sudden, more people are getting on the bus or the subway. And then all of a sudden, this father comes on, and he has a couple children, and he starts walking on, and all of a sudden, you're looking at him, and the kids are all riled up. It's like they've been eating sugar the whole time. You can imagine being at a party where the kids are all getting out of control, right? And these are the kids that are coming on board the subway. Father just sits down, plunk. And all of a sudden, ding! And we start moving on to the next stop. But we're watching these kids, and they're all over the place. Like they're just running around. They're moving, and they got to remember, this is like a really packed subway. It is like, holy mackerel. And all of a sudden, people are still going around, and we stop. And the kids are still running around. And I'm thinking to myself, I hope these kids are going to be out of here soon, because they're like causing a lot of trouble, and the dad's just sitting there. Now, can you imagine what it's like? You're in a hot subway, it's packed, and all of a sudden, they don't get off the bus or the subway. And ding! All of a sudden, we're going again. And it's moving around, jiggling, and it's getting really packed. People are holding on. And all of a sudden, the kid starts running around, and poof! They hit you. And the coffee spills out of the cup. And you're thinking to yourself, holy mackerel, why can't the father just ask the kids to sit down? The father's just sitting there. You see him right over there, right? He's not even looking at his child doing handstands and everything. It's absolutely crazy. And the other kids are just sitting up over there, and they're just like swirling around the poles, going woo, all over the poles. And see how the lady, I'm looking at this poor lady because her knees are getting hit, but she's not saying anything, and the father's definitely not doing anything. The kids hit another person, and their coffee falls. Their drink hits the floor, and they don't even say anything. And now I'm thinking to myself, this is crazy. We're almost going to the next stop. I sure hope this person gets off the freaking subway. And all of a sudden we stop. Nothing. They're still sitting there. The kids are running around. It's getting absolutely crazy. I'm thinking to myself, this is absolutely brutal. There is no way that a father should be allowing his kids to run around on a full subway in the middle of rush hour. I got to say something because I'm really getting peeved here. My coffee spilled. The poor lady's knees are getting banged up. The kids are doing handstands. And these kids that you see right there are whipping around the freaking pole. So I go over to the father and I say, excuse me, sir. Can you please look after your children? Can you control them? Because they're just running around. How would you feel if this was happening to you? If kids were just bouncing all over the place? Maybe you have felt that. Maybe you've been at McDonald's or some other place like that. I'm not nailing McDonald's at all, but in an environment where there's a lot of kids and it doesn't seem like the parents are controlling anything. Has it happened to you? Do you feel what I could be feeling right now? I sure hope you can. Mm-hmm. So I went over to the parent and I said, excuse me, sir. Could you please Just control your children. All I'm asking for is a little bit of control. I understand that they're kids, but you know what? I can't take this. And nor should anybody else in here at all. And everybody's looking at me. I'm feeling uncomfortable because everybody's looking at me. But they're all going, I wish I had said something, or get off the subway. All of a sudden he turns around to me and he goes, you know what? You're absolutely right. And I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention one bit. We were at the hospital for the last 2 days. And my wife died. Their mother died this morning. It's kind of like a little bit of a limbo right now. And I don't know what to do or say. How do you tell your kids that their mother's never going to come home again? It's pretty tough. What do you do? How do you feel when that happens? That a mother right there isn't going to be coming home, isn't going to be spending another day with their family. Your loved one isn't going to be there for you. How do you explain it to the kids that have been in a hospital for 2 days and don't really know or can experience what you're experiencing because they haven't lived the life that we've been living? How could I imagine losing my wife and having to explain it to everybody? See, from being super mad, being angry, upset, without controlling my emotions, I lashed out at somebody. And see, that's the crazy, crazy thing. And that's what Verbal Aikido helps. It allows me to manage my emotions because I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening with somebody else. Are they having a good day or a bad day?
And very good point. So think about, as you journeyed through that story, what actually changed in what was happening in the story? Were the children still running around? Were they still causing chaos on that subway? Was the father still standing there, kind of drugged out looking, zombie-ish? What changed other than the context of the story when you found out why the father was behaving the way he was, or why the children were behaving the way that they were? The situation didn't change. You actually changed when that context was adjusted in your brain. And that's what we really do in Verbal Aikido. We spend a lot of time in helping you manage through that controlling self, so that your outside circumstances are not dictating what's going on inside of you, which then influence what comes out of you.
Right. No, absolutely
Right?
perfect.
So let's take a look at, so thank you for sharing that. That was awesome.
Thank you, thank you.
So let's take a look at another situation for you. So on your sheet of paper, do me a favor and draw 3 circles. Now these ones are not intersecting ones. These are, as you see on your screen, 3 of them inside of each other. Okay, so let's think about that middle circle. Again, we're going to use the control self. So in that middle circle, write in control self. In the second circle that's outside of that control self, that is manage interactions. And then the third one is influence others. One key thing to think about before we show you a little bit of another diagram is where focus goes, energy flows, and that arena grows. So right now, today, where are you focusing your efforts? Is your efforts being focused outside of what you can control? If you are in network marketing, if you are starting up your own business, where is your focus? Is your focus on the high rate of taxes? The government's doing something that's not, they're supposed to deregulate whatever they were deregulating, and they haven't approved this new product to come into our country. My upline isn't doing anything. My sister hasn't bought my product. My next door neighbor hasn't joined my business. Are you focusing on all of those things outside of your control? Or are you focusing on areas that you can control, such as how many people have I called today? What else can I control? How many people have I talked to? Have I grown my network? When you put your control, the focus inside that area of control, your area of control expands. So really think today, be honest with yourself. Where are you focusing your efforts? Is it outside of your control or is it inside your control? If it's inside your control, your area of control grows. And when your area of control grows, your area of managing interactions grows.
Absolutely.
And the outcome is your ability to influence others.
If I could just make a real quick point.
Of course.
When we take a look at the area of what we can control, what we can't control, areas that we should be focusing on, you will notice that many of the top salespeople, many of the top leaders, the number one producers, even in your own business, they only focus on things that they can control. They don't worry if something's on back order. They're not worried if Sally or Jim isn't able to produce. They're worried about what they can focus on.
Yeah.
And they're not even worried because they don't let the worry part about it. But that's another thing about verbal Aikido that we can focus on later on in another seminar. But this is where they focus on. And when they can focus on that, you notice even their influence. What they're able to influence totally becomes bigger.
Yeah, most definitely. This is a huge, huge learning point. And so what we do in the 2-day experience is, again, we really give you the tools to help you increase that focus in that area of control, and that you have a lot of ability to control so much that you're not most likely not controlling. And our 2-day experience is in person, and they happen across the country. They happen throughout the US, and they are $697 for that 2-day in-person course. And it's called the 2-day experience because it is beyond phenomenal an experience. And it's one of those courses that you'll want to take again and again and again. For those of you who may not prefer the in-person, but prefer the home study, we have also built a home study course.
We have?
We have. It is geared towards, it is called Verbal Aikido for Ultimate Networking Success. And it is a home study course that has 11 plus hours of content, 6.5 of which is all Verbal Aikido. So in the Verbal Aikido, the 4 modules, the first one is building your foundation. And this is where we share with you what you can use to effectively build the foundation for you and your business. The second module that we have in this series is called Breaking Inertia. So you've built the foundation and you feel like, okay, I want to get going. I want to get this stuff moving. This is breaking that inertia. It's getting things to start moving, getting that rock to start moving. It's getting your people to start moving. And the third module that we share is the building momentum. So you've broken that inertia. This is like, get that snowball building, get that snowball rolling, get that business moving, moving, moving. And then the fourth of the 4 Verbal Aikido communication courses within this 7 module course that we have is finding your rhythm. So you've broken inertia, building the momentum, and now it's finding your rhythm, keeping that machine going. We have included the workbooks. So there's workbooks, there's self-assessments, there are video trainings, and we've also included the MP3s for all of these for any of those of you who, if you enjoy the Drive Time University, which we love. So we've listened to these a number of times, and we continue to listen to them because you're feeding your brain. It's just giving it that good stuff.
It almost becomes second nature. Mm-hmm. When you can download, you watch it, you get to visually see it, then you start to listen to it because you can download it straight onto your mobile device. If you want to put it onto an MP3, stick it in your car, however you wish to do it. It is really powerful when you can just listen and listen over. And each of these modules is about 90 minutes, if not more, but it's pure gold. It's It's the cream of the crop. There's no fluff in it. It is straight, and it's powerful. It just moves forward.
Exactly. And we're very excited to say that this course is now in 25 countries, and it has been voted the #1 course on the learning platform where we're having it hosted. This is a learning platform that has 30,000 plus courses on it. So phenomenal feedback thus far. So let's talk about the final 3 chunks of this 7-module training. So what's in that last 3 chunks? I'm going to pass that over to David to share with you.
Okay, thanks. So the last 3, when we were talking with James wanted to make sure that he delivered the best possible content. And the first 3, building of communication. But then in network marketing, we're also in the sales industry, right? We are direct sales people for many, many different products, great companies that are out there. So James wanted to build the foundation and then all of a sudden say, here is the goal on becoming an incredible sales master.
And I know that this is the course that helped me overcome my disempowering belief around sales. Very, very powerful course. I know that sales is a hurdle for a number of individuals out there, and you may be experiencing that either yourself or with somebody on your team who has sales as a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it moves right on to $1 Million Speaker. So for those, and it's not for everybody, but for so many, it's said, once you're able to present your opportunity, present your business platform, then all of a sudden, that's where the money starts growing. So you can become a great salesperson, but if you're able to now be a $1 million speaker, that you can go out and talk to anybody, be in front of anybody, if you can be on stage, presenting to hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of people, that's where the gold is.
Right, and I know that you've probably heard a number of times, I've heard it myself, that people would rather die than speak in public. And this course really helps you get over, so the Sales Mastery helps you get rid of those or crumble those disempowering beliefs around sales. The $1 Million Speaker, it's guaranteed to obliterate stage fright if you implement the actions that are put in place. It's highly recommended. So absolutely. You want to obliterate stage fright? That's the course
to take. Absolutely brilliant. Then the last one is pure coaching. We as leaders are also coaches. Now there's coaching, and then there's coaching your network downline. And one of the things, or even just your sales force, even a sales force that you have, but being able to draw the genius out of people, to be able to have them go out and be confident, and to teach them how to be confident, to be able to draw the genius out of people so that they can go out and move themselves, to be motivated for themselves. That is how teams stay with leaders. You take a look at the number, some of the top leaders that are out there. Those top leaders are focused on training their team. And you call them leaders because they have such a large downline. Well, to build that downline, they require something like pure coaching. And I believe straight up that pure coaching is probably one of the best coaching platforms I've ever looked at.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
So if you as an individual were to take the 2-day verbal Aikido experience, the Sales Mastery course, the $1 Million Speaker course, and the Pure Coaching course, all 3 of these combined has an overall value of over $3,600. So if you were to take these in person, that's how much it would cost to take these courses. And we're huge fans of the NEWBI team, and so we have a very attractive offer for you today. And what is that, Mr. David?
I'm glad you said it. We have an incredible limited time offer to be able to take this whole package online from the comfort of your very own home. It's over $3,600 in value, and we're going to be able to offer it at under $300. $298 is the value that we're going to be able to offer them.
That's awesome. And that's using the NEWBI coupon code NEWBI 2016. And on the screen in front of you, there's also a tiny URL for you as well. And I know that Bob, Marg, or Jan, one of them will be also sending the link to you to get this course. But because we love the newbies
I love
so,
the newbies.
so much. We've got something a little special, a little bit more special. Sweeten the pot, Mr. Stanley.
You know what? There is, right off the bat, I'm almost shocked that we're able to offer it at the price that we're offering it. People are paying a lot more for this course than you could even come close to imagining. $300 is a giveaway. It is literally a giveaway. $248 is the rock bottom price that we're able to offer this. And if you just go and type in that tinyurl.com newbie-funds, and the funds is for ultimate networking success. So it is something that will absolutely blow you away. Now, the other thing too is that we ended up talking earlier about a copy of our book. It is actually one of the #1 books that we have. And it's absolutely jam-packed with incredible information. Tammy, when we first met, I was tens and tens of thousands of dollars in debt, just under $50,000 in debt. Yeah. You marry up, everybody. That's what you do. You marry up. But Tammy, right off the bat, weeks into our relationship, and the story is told in the book, but just weeks into our relationship, she turned around and said, "What are you doing to provide for you and your son?" And I was like, "Well, I'm working every day." But all the stories that are in this book and the lessons from Tammy, they're my stories, but her lessons will actually take you from where I was, tens of thousands of dollars in debt, to a net worth of over $1 million. And it's all because of the way Tammy taught me how to run my finances, because I was never taught how to properly manage my money every time I got a paycheck. I was living paycheck to paycheck. So reach out to the newbies, or you can reach out to us, and we'll make sure we get a copy of this book in your hands, because we love the NEWBI Nation.
That's right. That's it.
That's it. That's
all. Thank you
all.
so much. So remember the 3 circles that we showed you: the control self, the manage interactions, and the influence others. You got to take care of that control self first. If that isn't under control, if you can't control yourself, nothing else is going to work. You're going to continue to be extremely frustrated in why your business isn't growing the way it should be growing. So we look forward to spending some time with the NEWBI team again in the future. And thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate you, and we look forward to hearing about your success.
Thank you, NEWBI System.
David and Tammy, wow. Thank you so much for that mini lesson on communications for us, and ultimate communications, ultimate networking. As you can see, folks, I had said at the beginning, misunderstood. You see what I mean now about misunderstood? There's just, we talk and we talk and we talk, but there's a real art to communicating. And I think David and Tammy have done a fantastic job talking to us exactly about that. I really like the whole concept about how it's not just enough to say something, but it's all about the other person, and it's about our ability to make sure the other person gets the message and sees what's in it for them. So David and Tammy, awesome job. Thank you so much. So now we've come to the end of this webcast. Now, if you found this webcast of value, please check our website on how you can become a citizen of the NEWBI Nation and receive monthly tactical webinars. We've got all sorts of monthly educational webinars. We've got weekly podcasts. We've got access to the work of some of the business masters. We've got ongoing information of all kinds. And we also have a program of member benefits to help put a little bit of cash back in your pocket. So if you're interested, come on out to the newbisystem.com website and check it out. Now, for those of you who are new to NEWBI, NEWBI is spelled a little bit different. It's NEWBI. The reason for that is it's an acronym. NEWBI stands for the New Entrepreneur Wealth Building Institute. So the website is newbisystem.com. So please come on out, check us out. Now, if you've got any questions about our broadcast tonight, our message from David and Tammy, please send us an email at questions@newbisystem.com. All questions are answered. So whether it's for David and Tammy or one of our other tactical or educational webinars or anything else on our website, please let us know. questions@newbisystem.com. So when you get out to the NEWBI System site, look for the menu option, Join the Nation, and come on, be part of the nation. At NEWBI System, we are fanatics for financial freedom, and of course, that freedom is yours. Thanks so much for watching this webcast. As always, this is Bob McLean from NEWBISystem.com signing off. See you in the NEWBI Nation.